This is Earthmovers
with Alison Mariella Désir, Stefanie Flippin, and Verna NezBegay Volker.
A trail podcast reclaiming the narrative.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Earthmovers, a trail podcast reclaiming the narrative. We are so excited to be bringing all of you season 2. Our new episodes will be dropping weekly every Thursday. I'm Stefanie Flippin, one of your co-hosts, and I am joined with my other two co-hosts, Alison Désir and Verna Volker. Welcome, everyone. How are you guys today?
Hello.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
A little bit of a cold, but happy to be here with you two and everybody listening.
Yeah.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
I'm literally cold. That's what I'm.
Yeah, I know. We are. So it's January 26th today. I think like the whole country here in the States, we're like fresh off of a very, very cold weekend, huge storms across the entire country, it seems like. So we're all kind of hunkered down right now. Before we dive into a lot of the fun topics we have today, I did want to bring a really exciting announcement to everyone and thank our presenting sponsor, Ultra. They are back supporting and sponsoring our second season. And yeah, it means a lot to us to have their continued support, especially in these times right now that we're all witnessing and experiencing. It really means a lot to have this platform and the financial support in order to be able to bring these really pertinent conversations to our listeners. You can check out Ultra at ultrarunning.com. They offer free returns, 30-day try their shoes, and you can return them and exchange them if they work or don't work for you. And again, we're just really grateful for their support. So thank you, Ultra.
So when's the last time did we have this conversation? It's been several months now, right?
I know. Do we know how to do this?
We're all a little rusty here. Yeah, when was our last recording? Was that in October?
Yeah, all together,
right?
I think.
All together, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, we're coming up. It's hard to believe we're at the end of January already, into 2026. I don't know about you guys, but I do feel like I'm still recovering from the holidays a bit. I'm like,
Right.
And of course, just everything that's been going on right now, just in the political sphere and how all of those things are impacting the running world, right? So yeah, I feel like we have said, in every single episode, on every single conversation that we've had, I feel like a common thread has been that running is political. I mean, everything is political at this point, right? So yeah. So Verna, you are our, Minnesota-based co-host. You've been a prominent leader in the run space there. You and your family lived in Minneapolis for 16 years. Is that correct?
Yes, we lived there for 16 years and we just moved a little bit south, like an hour and a half. So, there's a lot going on, obviously, and I think we are. It's a surreal feeling, but at the same time, we're not surprised that these things are happening, and I really feel just sad about communities that we love, friends that we love who are immigrants, and everything that's happening is where we actually lived. So you see little like pockets of like our own neighborhood, and our kids are seeing that, and my college kid in Colorado sees it, and it just makes us really sad and upset. And I think too, it's hard for people to understand when they're not here. And I think also just recently with the targeting and racial profiling of being brown skinned, and I just had an interview here just shortly with a magazine, and they're like, "What's your daily life?" And it's like, well, I check this app every day that says iceout.org that shows you where ICE is. And so I make sure to check that every day before I go and take all my documents. So, but yeah, I'm really curious, like what you guys are hearing from where you guys are. Like, because sometimes I hear, are we seeing the same thing? So,
yeah, I'm in Seattle, and ICE is a lot of places. I'm not going to say everywhere because I don't think it's reached that stage yet. But I work with, or I have clients. I'm a therapist. I have clients that are undocumented. I'm a Black woman, which means I could be picked up any old time for any reason. So I myself have contemplated whether I should be carrying my passport. What would I do if my office was raided? Um, it's really just very scary. But two things that I thought about in advance that I wanted to say are sort of corrections. And the first one is that I hear so many people referring to what's happening now as like un-American, or these are Nazis in our country. And it's so frustrating to hear because this is so typically American. And there's this one academic on Instagram that I follow. Her name is Tressie McMillan Cotton. I can't say it exactly. Cottom, not Cotton. um, and she and Ibram X. Kendi, they talk about how this is what this country has always done, and this is how systems are meant to function. And it's only now that it's being raised to the level of consciousness of white people.
Mm-hmm.
And that is
Yeah.
why this moment feels so hard, right?
Yeah.
But has always been the case. This is how ICE has always functioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like more apparent and more violent on the streets in our face. So that's one thing. And then the second thing that's really been annoying me, to bring it back to the running context, is seeing elite athletes making posts that say nothing. Posts that are so meaningless, that are calling for unity and love, that really don't say anything at all. And so I'm like, if you're going to say something, like, say it with your chest. Don't
Yeah.
call for these just empty statements that
Right.
sound a lot like what the CEOs of all of the Minnesota companies put out, right? That
Right. Yeah.
blame to no one, that don't have a call to action. Anyway, that's me on my high horse.
Oh,
Those are my
no,
Yeah.
I agree. And I think too, um, I think what's really been frustrating for me is, granted, not saying that Renee Good and um, Alex, who was just unalived a couple days ago, um, not that their lives don't matter, but that has been just on the forefront because they're white. But I'm like, I had to put a post saying, you got to remember that there was people of color who were unalived by ICE. Like, we can't forget it, but that's
Mm-hmm.
just so, again, normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, finally there's the outrage. Finally there's the outcry. It's like, where was the outcry years ago? But I think now it's affecting white people,
Mhm.
that they're finally angry, which is good to see. But man, dang it, it
Yeah.
took a freaking long time, So I think
Yeah.
that's what's really on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. To both of your points, especially what you mentioned, Allison, it's like, we've had I see these posts and things like that, and it's like, okay, here's what you can do, and those are important. I'm not trying to strike those down, but and I see these being shared by like very well-meaning like white allies in this space, but I also want to be like, we've had the blueprints. Like, Black and brown people have been telling us exactly what needs to be done for decades now, if not like much longer. And no one listens, right? Until it confronts you like face to face with someone who looks exactly like you. And they're like, oh my gosh, like now it's like open season on all of us. Like, and it's like, well, it's been open season on Black and brown people
Mhm.
for God knows how long, right?
The most frustrating, well, I won't say the most frustrating because there's a lot of frustrating, but this white woman was saying, like, how can I even raise my children in this country now? And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Black people
Yeah,
were kidnapped to this country, enslaved, and raised children.
Right.
Or I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
exist. Like, what are
exactly.
you saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Figure it
I
out
know.
like everybody else.
Yeah, I know. What I'm seeing here in Colorado, I live so rural. I'm very, very far removed from like any type of like urban place. I'm about an hour, for our listeners, I'm about an hour west from Denver. And even Denver itself, like our major ICE facility is actually in Aurora, which is even
Mm.
further east than Denver, and it's much closer to like our airport, which it takes us, well, it takes me at least like 90 minutes to get to the airport. And it kind of feels like you're like all the way in Kansas at that point. It's so far
Right.
out there. So I am like physically like removed, but, I follow a similar app. that Verna mentioned, and ICE presence has been very prominent in the area where my private medical practice used to be. I've been on sabbatical for a couple years at this point, but my private medical practice was pretty much right in the heart of where Denver's sort of largest Latinx population and demographic is, and it's it's really hard because I just keep like having these flashes of like all my patients in my mind, and there's no real way for me to personally reach out to every single one of them to ask if they're safe, to check in with them. But it's so disconcerting to see it, and just seeing like the familiar streets and the neighborhoods that they're combing through. And I'm getting ready to travel out to my hometown. I'm from a suburb of San Diego, but grew up in a border town. I'm flying out to just support my parents. My dad's about to have surgery, and my mom texted me and said, like, there's tons of ICE presence here. So she's, and so I'm having this conversation with like my husband and like my parents. It's like, it seems like, like I feel like I'm, kind of like exaggerating the situation, but like my husband's like, you need to be really careful, like, running, like, and going for runs, like from your parents' house. Like, and I have had those fears in the past, but not for reasons like with ICE. But it's a legitimate concern at this point, just based on the sort of unhinged activity and like, behaviors and approaches that we're seeing right now. So,
I feel like that with NWR and thinking forward, like we have some races in Minneapolis, like one in March, one in April and May. And so, I mean, I'm telling the board, like, we can't move forward if ICE is literally still in Minneapolis. Like how, like I have to make that decision. Like we have to keep our Native women safe because Native people are being targeted, especially in the area where these races are being held. And so, and it's really sad that we have to think about like these things that are fun and great and good for us that, anyway, like you can imagine, I'm like,
I'm also curious, how are the races going to be responding to this, right? Because I mean, the thing is that ICE can be anywhere that's public. So it's not like they can stop ICE from being on the land, but they should have protocols in place for what happens if ICE approaches a runner at a race, or how do we know that there is any safety? I mean, not that there was safety before, but with this added element, our sport takes place outdoors. It requires freedom of movement, which we on this call have never had. But with this greater level of risk, where's the conversation about this?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, it could happen anywhere. I mean, not just in Minneapolis, but I mean, I remember when Chicago had ICE at the Chicago Marathon, like I told my Native women, you got to bring your documents, but it could happen like at any major race. So I am curious if there's any thoughts on their end, if they're even thinking about this, or are they? I hope so,
Yeah.
Well, all right. How are we all managing? I am currently watching Emily in Paris, which is like the most inane TV show. But I'm into it. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I love that.
I think I've just been watching like these YouTube travel shows, like they're traveling in a van, and then I read, but I'm not like a big reader, so I joined this like book club.
Good for you.
Well, I haven't gone to the book club yet, so I'm just trying to get into this book. Yeah, I'm just trying to get into this book, and I'm just like, So I think those are things that keep me going, and I think too, you guys all might relate. Is like our pets, like our cat. When I feel stressed, I'm like, "Where's the cat? Where's the cat? Come here!" So I think that's just been helpful, and just kind of just staying close to home, and just trying to find that like little happiness to kind of cope.
Yeah, I dove headfirst into reading. I've always been like a big reader, but I feel like in recent years, like work has just been crazy. I just really didn't carve out the time, to be just reading like novels and things like that. It was like anything I was consuming, like was just directly correlated with work. But I took a concerted effort in December. I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to take like 2 weeks straight off from work. I'm not going to be on my computer. I'm going to put up a legitimate out of office this time, not one of those like fake ones where I put it up and then I'm like actually responding to emails like 2 hours later, because I don't want to get like quote behind. Anyhow, so I actually did that. And I went through, tons of different like top 2025 like books from the year. And I intentionally, and kind of similar to your point, Allison, about watching Emily in Paris, I intentionally like picked like the like ones where I knew I was like, okay, I need these to have happy endings. Like I need these to be like more romantic. I need these to be happy. So I like kind of self-selected those. And I've probably read like a dozen books in December, just keeping the vibes high and light. And just really leaning into that aspect. I've been like trying to keep that going this year too. I had shared, we had a off recorded meeting and prep for this season. And I had shared with you guys that, that was a goal of mine, is to kind of shift more of my time to be reading versus like mindlessly scrolling on social media. It's like just trying to get anything I can do, right? Or anything we can all do to just get our nervous systems, like just a little bit calmer, less like constantly in that fight or flight mode, has been good. So,
yes. Speaking of, for me, I just got back from Bermuda, and it was so amazing because you're in another country, but it's like this tiny island. Everybody was so kind, and not like, I differentiate between kind and nice. I think like nice people are not actually nice.
Yeah, true.
They're just doing, what's pleasant, what's bland. But the kindness, I mean, like this one, I waited for, first of all, I don't take the bus anymore because of all of my fears. But in Bermuda, you take the bus everywhere. And so we were all waiting for the bus at like 9 o'clock at night. And this woman, bus driver, had gotten off the bus and her shift was over. And she was like, all right, everybody, just get on the bus. I'm not going to pick anyone else up, but get on the bus and I'll ride and take you all to your stops. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, people say hello, people look out for you. And in a way that it was so powerful. And also it was an opportunity to really see how that country sees us. And it's, I mean, I don't get locked in shame, but it's really shameful, right? Like we are such a joke. But I don't want to go back that way. I want to ask you all, what are your race plans this year? What do you have lined up? What are you thinking about?
Well, I haven't really had anything. I've just been kind of running just to kind of maintain, but I don't have any races right now. Um, I want to, so we'll just see how the months go. Uh, I haven't been able to just go to my favorite trail. Plus, it's been like so cold, like minus 20, and so frostbite, all that. I mean, I could do it probably, but I just, hopefully I'll kind of get out of this funk and kind of think about, okay, what should I do? But I just think I'm training for something that I don't know what I'm doing, like what race. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I feel like, actually, I mean, for the first time in 3 years, actually, I was like structurally and also like mentally, emotionally healthy through December into the new year. I had shared just briefly on social media, but like actually for the prior like 3 years in a row, like I had, like 4 years back, I had a pretty significant death in the family that led to like a ephemeral stress reaction. And then the year after that, I like had a really bad bout of COVID that led to this bizarre sacral injury. And then the year after that, I had this weird femoral injury. So I felt like I was living in Groundhog's Day, like every December. And it was so frustrating to me because it's like December, for at least for me personally, I know for a lot of people too, it's a wonderful month. I love the holidays, but there's also like an element of, it's also a tough month too for a variety of reasons. So I was just so grateful to be able to have movement and be able to run and train in the way that I wanted to through December and like over the holidays and into the new year. I actually was able to build like quite a bit of like solid fitness, I felt like, which was really nice. I just haven't been able to do that in quite some time. So yeah, I'm excited to be rolling that, all of that into this year and this season, though. I haven't necessarily like announced my specific racing plans. But yeah, I'm excited to hop out into some road races and then roll those into some bigger trail races into the summer. But yeah, it's, I mean, something also that I spent a significant amount of time on this past month, and then a little bit of December as well, is just like it's my fourth consecutive year being on the board for GU Energy Labs' Western States Diversity Initiative. We haven't made official announcements yet. That'll be coming in about a week or so. But yeah, we, deliberated, worked through tons of incredible applications, and we're really excited to be putting three wonderful individuals into the race. I'll tease a little bit. One is an elite professional athlete who, is from the Mexican indigenous community, which we're very excited to be supporting them. And then our two other athletes are just incredible community members who are not just bringing themselves to the race, but enormous and wonderful, diverse communities with them as well.
I'm going to go scour the internet based on those clues.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
You might have said too much.
I know. I know. But I think by the time our podcast comes out, it'll be really exciting. But
awesome.
But yeah. So cool. Yeah, really, really, really excited about that. And yeah, I'll be traveling out to the Bay Area a handful of times this year, and then I'll be there for Western States as well, just to support our whole team and the initiative. So very much looking forward to that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm in really cold weather, but I know winter training can be hard for some of us. I don't know if you both are training outdoors or indoors. I'm indoors now for sure. So if you're finding a way to train in this winter weather.
I feel like I can't really say much in the way of complaints because I'm in the warmest
Seattle
of all of us.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, it's still cold. I am happy to also be in a better place with my fitness and to be enjoying running again, which means for me that I like when things are going well for running, knock on wood, I don't want to be on a treadmill. I want to be outside. Yeah. So outside it's cold. It's actually not as rainy as usual.
I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah, which is of course alarming. But yeah, I've got nothing to say. You all are in negative degrees. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, Verna, I think you certainly take the cake. It's not, I mean, I live in the mountains here in Colorado at like almost 9,000 feet elevation, but at the same time, like the actual like patch of, I guess, land that I live on is actually called the Banana Belt. I've never liked that term. It's like just kind of like makes me feel weird, but they call it that because we're kind of like, they refer to it kind of more as like a quote high desert. I mean, it's not a desert. I live in the mountains, but we don't get quite as much snowfall in the region that I'm at, and the temperatures aren't quite as low. So it's very atypical for us here to even get into like the teens or single digits, let alone negatives.
Oh, I didn't know that, huh?
Yeah, but on average, I mean, it's like a cold day here would be like in the 20s, I would say. And,
that's like summer.
Which is, for you.
No, that's actually warm. Seriously.
Right, from Minnesota right now. Yeah.
If it gets to 25, we're like outside.
Naked.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. See, it's so cold I have a blanket. So, but anyway, just again, we want to just give a shout out to Ultra for supporting our upcoming season for our podcast. I've been wearing the Ultra road race shoe, the Flow 2. So I'm not really outdoors now. So it's more of a road running shoe. And I've been running a lot on the treadmill. So I feel like I love it because it's light. Because there's another shoe that I'm kind of wearing. I'm not going to say the shoe, but it just seems heavy when I'm running on the treadmill. So I like it. And you know what I like about it is I've been able to style it. So I wear it once in a while, but I've been able to style it with some cool jeans, my long, coat. So anyway, so I just want to say just thank you to Ultra for supporting us again. And if you want to know more about Ultra, you can go to www.ultrarunning.com for more cool shoes. So yeah.
Well, I've got some exciting updates. I've got 2 personal ones and then 1 shared update. So as many of you know, I'm the host of a show on PBS called Out and Back. And oh my God, is it season 4 or season 5? I can't even keep track. But the next season launches February 5th. So yeah, you'll be able to watch it by the time this episode is out. And then We Out Here Trail Fest, which last year was the first year. Stefanie and Verna were both there. It was incredible. 66% of participants were first-time trail runners. And registration launches February 17th. That's announcement number 2. And announcement number 3, arguably the most exciting, is that we have a Substack. It
Yes.
is
Yay.
earthmoverspodcast.substack.com. And what we realized is that we have a lot to say.
Lots of words.
There are a lot of
We do
people
have.
we want to talk to. Reclaiming the trail narrative is more than just the podcast. So yeah, on our Substack, you'll find things like Ask Me Anything. You'll find race tips. You'll find something really cool, which will be free every month. It's called the Earth Mover of the Month. And I'd like to kick it to Steph to share a bit about that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm so excited about this idea. I think it was honestly a collective idea of ours and our good friend and producer Cherie to feature one of our listeners each month and just dive a bit deeper into their story. I mean, we're kind of limited on how many guests we can bring on, but I feel like we have so many wonderful humans tuning into the podcast. I would love to have all of them on as guests. But yeah, this past month for our first Substack post that will be coming out on February 2nd, I had the honor of interviewing good friend of the podcast, Juan Hincapi Castillo. And yeah, obviously spoilers. I don't want to give out any spoilers. I do want everyone to tune in and read the interview that I did with him. But I did want to read, just as our tradition here on the podcast, we ask all of our guests, as well as we asked each other on our final episode of season 1, what does being an earth mover mean to you? So I'll just briefly share here what Juan shared with me when I asked him that question. Juan said, being an earth mover is a form of connecting with source. People often ask me why I participate in ultra running, and it's hard for me to convey the unique feeling of being connected with my body in such a primal and natural way. In a time when people seem more concerned with the virtual world, the literal feat of moving my body through physical space is for me a political statement. It's an act of self-love and an embodiment of liberation. Gosh, it was just incredibly powerful. So I just wanted to share with our listeners just a little teaser there of what we will be bringing to all of you on a weekly basis on our Substack, and just platforming and elevating those of you who are tuning into the podcast and those of you who just feel like a resonation, right, with our conversations here. So Juan, again, thank you for your time. And yeah, we're really, really excited to be bringing more of these conversations with all of you in written form. So
the Substack Earth Movers podcast, wait, let me get it right. Earthmoverspodcast.substack.com. The first month, all the content will be free. And then after that, there will be paid tiered options. The Earth Mover of the Month will always be free. And we want to hear from you all. So Substack also provides an opportunity for you to leave comments. You can contact us on Instagram and share things that you're curious about. Nominate people to be an Earth Mover of the Month. Nominate yourself. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, on that note, I will be, one of the stories we will be also sharing is I know a native guy who has he's actually based in Minneapolis, Joe, and his last name, I'm just gonna probably butcher it, but it's Regatu. I can't say it, but it's anyway. He is. I'll have to ask him.
First question.
Yes, I know I've always struggled with his last name, but he is one of the co-founders of a running group called Four Winds running group out in Minneapolis, and they are in the heart of everything. And so I just had an interview with him. I talked to him last week because we're working on a project together. So I asked him, first, I'll just give you also a teaser. I said, how are you doing? And he said, you know what? I don't know how to express myself. I feel like crying. And he said, yesterday I was just at a pizza place eating. And he said, in front of me, I look out trying to enjoy my pizza. And he said, I just see someone being detained by ICE. And so he just shares a little bit more about how the Native community is dealing with all this, but how they've come together. So I think it'll be a good read, and I really respect him, and and again, he's like in that heart of that community right now. And so just so positive. And so I was really grateful to have that time with him.
Yeah, and Indigenous people more than anybody, or equal to other people who've been in this country for a long time, know what it's like to get things taken from you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And know
Yes.
what it's like to still fight for sovereignty, fight for recognition, fight for what you're owed. I correct myself there because I think about, after slavery, Black people were promised 40 acres and a mule, which, of course, promising land that wasn't yours to begin with, can't do that. But Black people were promised a commitment to this country. And Black people also have learned how to make a lot with a little, right? So it's
Right.
so important to, as we said before, to turn to these communities and turn to history, right? Which again is why history is being sanitized and removed, because
Yes.
history is a tool to understand the present and to address the present, because everything that's happening has happened before.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think one of the things too that was really interesting to me, because they detained like 4 Dakota men in Minneapolis, and they're holding them right now. ICE, one of their detention
Yes.
centers is Fort Snelling, which was the internment camp for the Dakota people, and now they're actually holding Native people in that, and it's just unreal as a Native person. I mean, I didn't grow up here. I'm not part of the tribes here, but it resonates because like even the Navajos, we have a story where our people were forced removal, but that just was really like, oh my goodness, like you never
Yeah.
think that you would see it in modern day, that they're there at a place where their ancestors were. And so yeah, it's been such an interesting time. And so, but yeah, anyway, what you said, Allison, is so true.
Yeah, I mean, Allison, to your point, it's like not only, I mean, it's very intentional, right? Like why, like these historical monuments, all these placards and signs at, our national parks,
Right.
impacting me personally is like the erasure and removal of all the Japanese internment camps. And it's like, this is all so intentional because the resistance and the information that's out there is a blueprint for us because it has already happened, right?
Right. Yeah.
And they don't want us to have it. And it truly is so maddening to see it. I do have a personal project in the works about like bringing more attention to the Japanese internment camps, especially the ones out in California. I've shared a bit about just my ancestry, but yeah, that is something that I'm diving into because Verna, to your point, it's like we can't it's like, yes, it's extremely ironic and horrible, like what's happening, but we can't let it go, right? Like we can't let it be erased and just repeated over and over again. So
Steph,
yeah.
give us more about your ancestry. You sort of
Yeah.
teased it there, but in case
Yeah.
anybody's listening for the first time.
Sure. Yeah. I can't remember if I shared this. Maybe Carolyn and my good friend Carolyn Sue, maybe her and I dove further into this, but yeah, just briefly, it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I actually learned like more about my ancestry. So growing up, my grandfather, so my mom's father, was adopted. He believed that he was, a Chinese man. I always was told you are half Chinese until my husband bought me a 23andMe DNA test. And I decided that I wanted to try to like figure out more about my grandfather and his adoption, just because my grandmother is aging and I'd really love to get that sort of closure for her. And my DNA came back that I was, 12.5% Japanese, which was enough for me to be like, oh, okay. And it became very clear, oh, my grandfather was half Chinese, half Japanese. And his date of birth, kind of coincided. And the year that he was given up for adoption, he was 5 years old. And when he was 5 years old, that was the same year that the Japanese internment camps were put into place. So his mother was Japanese. She, decided to place him with a Chinese couple, an older Chinese couple, so that he wasn't taken away and also placed in the internment camps as well. So yeah, like I said, that was a fairly new realization to me and my family. And since then, my mom and I have, my mom's like connected with a handful of people like through 23andMe. And while we haven't been able to find like a direct link quite yet, it's like, we're a little bit still further removed. But we've come to realize just how many relatives of ours, perished in the internment camps. And the story of retribution after, and being brought back to their homes and given their land back and their farms, a lot of which was in the Central California area, is not true. And a lot of that was a big push by white farmers actually in the Central California region. It wasn't just solely like the fear mongering, right, of the war and the concern for Japanese spies and stuff like that. A lot of it was land seizure. And essentially getting land back for white farmers in that region. So yeah, that's just some of the ancestry that I've been diving into in recent years. And like I said, to Verna's point, just I'm not going to let it go, because I don't want it to continue to get buried and erased. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so powerful. And I have been so resistant to all those ancestry
Yeah,
things, because I think
I know.
about Henrietta Lack, and
Yeah.
if you don't know that story, Google that. But
Mhm.
I recently, I forget which ancestry site it is, but I've gone. Let me little tangent. I've visited Jamaica a few times in my life, and every time I'm in Jamaica, people are like, "You look Jamaican." Like, although I go in a lot of places and people think I look like those things, but
Sure.
in Jamaica especially. And then it turns out in my ancestry, several, maybe 3 generations ago, my ancestors on my mom's side were Jamaican born.
Mm.
And so it's really cool the way that it can connect you.
Yeah.
And then you learn your history. And learning history is where you get the investment, right?
Hmm.
Is where
Yep.
Right.
you get connection.
Yeah.
Um, so powerful that you've been able
Yeah.
to explore that stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I think too, like right now it's really a hard time in America, but I think like your story, like Allison, my story, it's powerful, and we have to always remember how proud we should be
Hmm.
of just our roots and of our where our families come from, because it's so hard to feel like, oh my gosh, like, but there's so much pride in that,
Hmm.
and I think that's a good empowerment of being in America today, like,
Hmm.
and I think we just always have to remember that. So, like that story, it's like, you know, something to be so proud of, like
Hmm.
Steph, to just like learn that, and
Yeah.
all that our ancestors went through is just really
Hmm.
powerful.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I feel like we all can resonate, identify and resonate with this, but I just find myself thinking about like how many sacrifices were made. And
Mhm.
also, like, I mean, I'm not someone who really believes in coincidences. I do believe that, it's things do very much happen for a reason, but, I just think like how much had to transpire, how many calculated decisions had to be
Mhm.
made to bring me to where I am today, to where you are today, Allison, where you are, Verna. And I just, for me, it's like I don't want any of those decisions to be in vain, right? And I
Mhm.
think a lot of that, and
Right.
like my
Mhm.
ancestry, is what motivates me to keep doing this work. I find myself, I'm kind of like a romantic in this way, but like I kind of like sometimes imagine myself like in like a book or something, and like I'm like envisioning like my ancestors like in the back of my mind,
Mhm.
and like almost like talking to me, and like what they would want me to do or how they would want me to act in certain situations. But yeah, just learning more about my past. It just has, it's been such a drive for me to be like, it's not
Mhm.
just about me. Like I'm here because of all of these people and all these decisions and
Right.
sacrifices,
Mhm.
and like and mistakes too, right? Like that they've made as
Mhm.
well. And I just find myself being like, I want to do good by them.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I mean,
so
I think about that stuff
Good
all
by
the
them.
time, especially
yeah.
Mhm.
with I'm half Haitian, half Colombian, and
Hmm.
the Haitian Revolution
Yeah.
transformed the world in that
Yeah.
it was the first time that this idea of human rights was really upheld, right? The French
Hmm.
Revolution
Mhm.
claimed that, but
Yeah.
they still held slaves, so that's not universal human rights. And I think about that a lot. I think about um, who, it's just by chance that like my ancestor was somebody who survived the
Yeah.
Haitian
Yes.
Revolution
Yes.
and then had their family and believed that
Right.
things were going to be okay enough to have the family and go through all of this trauma, but still believe and hope enough to continue to have generations, right? It's I think when you think about it like that, like we are living in really difficult times, and there have never been times that have not been difficult for us.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of strength in knowing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
It's like we were made for this,
Mhm.
for better, for worse.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We ain't new to this. We true
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, any last thoughts before we close? Maybe anybody want to tease anything? Anybody want to share something they're looking forward to this upcoming season?
Well, I know on my agenda, I have some Indigenous runners that I'll be interviewing, which I'm very proud of. And actually, they're both Navajos, so it's really cool to hear their stories. One is going to be running the big distance of, is it 250, right? Or Cocadonia 250? Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
it's like 200, 250. I don't know. It's one of those. And so it's interesting because people are well. Some of the Native women that on my leadership is like, yeah, and they are an ultra sponsor event, so they're so into that because two of our Native women finished that race, and they want to do it again, and then they want to do like 300. I'm just like, no. So, but yeah, those are coming up, and one of them is going to be one of the person that I'm interviewing is going to be doing that, and so just kind of, I guess, interview him before, and maybe we'll do an after with him, see how all that goes, because I think they start on a Monday morning and then they're done by a Saturday morning or Sunday morning.
A whole week?
Basically,
Yeah,
I mean, one of the girls she's a teacher, yeah, and she basically, that was her vacation. I was just like, okay, so hey, if they want to do that, okay, it's yeah. So those are some of my guests that can think of.
I will have to tune in to understand this level.
Right.
For me, one of the conversations I'm excited about this season, I don't want to give too much away, but I do want to encourage our listeners to watch the recently released documentary called Dipsy Generations. It's a film project that highlights different youth running programs throughout the Bay Area, a handful of which some of the youth runners are Native, and it follows the 114th year of the race, which I believe was in 2024. Yeah, I was about to say last year, but no, it was the year before that. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive into a conversation with someone who's very closely associated with that documentary. And he's been doing incredible work in the space. So yeah, I'm, like I said, very much looking forward to that, and encourage our listeners to watch that documentary. So
I'm excited that we will have, I guess if we're not telling exactly who it is, we will have somebody who will share with us really the state of the running industry and give us context and data, and sort of be able to ground us in understanding what's going on here. But yeah, super excited for this season. I am going to reshare some of the things that I shared because there's so much going on. We are back with Ultra. We are super thankful for that. We've got episodes dropping every Thursday. We have merch available. We have a Substack, and we'd love to hear from you. So you can find all of the links on Instagram at the link in bio. If you want to email us, you can email us at earthmoverspodcast@gmail.com. Of course, subscribe, review. We just want to know what's going on and how much you love us this season. So and stay tuned for super exciting times ahead. Thanks, Verna and Steph. Great to talk with you.
Yeah.